groovy.
Groovy. Hello, guys. Hello, I am here. I am back tonight. And welcome back to Small Screen Stories. I hope you guys are doing well. Before I get started, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be wonderful. You can follow us everywhere on social media at Small Screen Co. And if you could also, share this. Why not share this? But also, let's
go
do this.
over there and hit the fucking like button. All right, you hit it now. You motherfucking hit the fucking like. I just told you to hit the motherfucking like button. So you gotta do it right now. Do it.
Yeah, do that. It's not one of my best moments, but I really do like that clip, and I do apologize for all the swearing. It is just it's a Michael Caine impersonation. And let's say hello to everyone in the chat. So we've got Snyder Steppenwolf in the chat. Yo, got Dan Zig in the chat. It sounds like Terrio has had his fill. Yeah, it sounds like that as well. We'll probably get into that a little bit later on. Tonight, what I wanted to do was focus on the article that went up today on Small Screen about Zack Snyder's fight to get Justice League released in China. But it's all related, it's all interconnected, and it's all basically about Warner Brothers messing everything up. We've got Jedi Master EJ in the chat today. Where did you find him? Well, I'm here. We were trying something different last night. Did it work? I don't know. Let me know. We had you in the chat, EJ. We had you come on the show. We had Dan Zig come on the show as well. So thank you very much for doing that whilst I was out. We got Leroy Kong in the chat. Hello to him. And then we've got, who else? We've got, well, Jedi Master EJ, very interesting article. Thank you very much. We'll get into it in a second. Chubby Teddy Monster Productions. Yo. I hope you guys are doing well. Who else? We've got Rajnish. I hope I say that right. Terrorist just a few pissed off. Get the Snyderverse on HBO Max exclusive. Keep it away from the grubby hands of Warner Brothers and give full creative control to Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio. Make it make sense. You are very much right. And Jedi Master EJ says it was a blast. Thanks for having me. We'll have you on again. We'll definitely have you on again. And Danzig said it was an honor to be on the show. It was an honor to have you. Thank you so much for stepping up last night and doing that. It was an impromptu thing. I was missing, and I was actually in the chat, which kind of ruined the joke, unfortunately. I thought it was just fun. Right, so let's get right into it. And this is the article I was talking about earlier. And this is Restoring the Snyderverse, Zack Snyder's fight to get Justice League released in China. So this, one of the reasons I did this article was actually because I know quite a few people, quite a few journalists that live in China, and they were telling me some relatively interesting stuff. Well, actually, very interesting stuff about specifically the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League in China. So, getting anything to be released in China is a complete nightmare anyway. I think it's only 34 non-Chinese movies, so Hollywood movies. I think it is 34. Get to be shown in Chinese cinemas every year. It's 34. It's a really difficult thing to get your movie into China. Now, one of the things from the very get-go that I knew was that Zack Snyder was very, very adamant that he wanted Justice League to be released in China, and there are many reasons why that is. The main reason is money. He knew that it would make a lot of money in China because there is a market for the movie out there. We know that it does very well in China. The other reason is, well, he kind of wanted to expand the DCU. He wanted to do the Atom movie, which would have been a spin-off of Justice League, and that was a thing that he actually pitched to Warner Brothers, but they kind of turned it down, which is not surprising. Here we go. Pitched a China-based Atom Ran Choi-centered film starring Zhang Kai, who was in Justice League, and that would have been great. That would have been something that I really would have liked to have seen. Unfortunately, he didn't do it, which is a bit of a shame, and I need to sort out that. Yeah, so what happened? Basically, a bunch of things happened. As I don't have a producer tonight, so I am desperately trying to get things going. A bunch of things happened. The first thing is that Zack Snyder really pushed for the release in China. But why wasn't it done? Why the hold up? It was meant to be released on March 18th in China. It never got released, and this is something that was confirmed to me by people that I know living in China, and they said that the only way they were able to watch this movie was through illegal means. But basically, he explained that there's a bunch of streaming websites where they can get links to watch the movie in the original language and with the Chinese subtitles. So that's one of the ways they are able to do that. And actually, interestingly enough, it's done really well in the Chinese market. So here's one thing I was told was that Warner's had no interest in ever releasing Justice League in China. My source went a step further. Said Warner Brothers actively prevented the film from getting a China release. Said Warner Brothers actively prevented the film from getting a China release. So this then I was kind of going into more depth into why this was, what was going on, and they were actively trying to bomb the movie. One of the things they didn't want happening was the movie doing too well that it actually ended up requiring them to do a sequel. They wanted people within Warner Brothers wanted the Snyderverse to end with this movie. This for them was very much the last film they wanted in the Snyderverse. I'll remove this. So. One of the big things as far as all of this is concerned is why was that? Why would they actively try and stop one of their movies from doing well? They released Wonder Woman 1984 in China. They released Godzilla vs. Kong in China. Incidentally, Godzilla vs. Kong hasn't been doing as well in China as they'd hoped it would. It hasn't been doing as well in Asia as they hoped it would. It's actually behind Sisters, which is a Chinese release in China. And it's not doing as well in Japan as they were hoping it was going to do. So it's still doing pretty well. It's still doing well. But then again, that's a legendary film. So most of the money is going to go to Legendary anyway. So the reason why they're promoting that movie so much is beyond me. When they have Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I was actually told that Zack Snyder had a cut ready for the Chinese market. So one of the things is I've been looking into this a lot now, and actually I'm kind of obsessed with China, with the China market. I think it's huge. It's already huge. It's going to be even bigger for Hollywood moving forward. Films are actively changing them, like they are actively changing films specifically for a Chinese release. They're adding Chinese characters in their movies. They're adding specific scenes for Chinese audiences only. That's something that Marvel does a lot. One of the things you cannot have in your movie if you're releasing it in China are ghosts and any reference to the devil. And anything that makes China look bad or the Chinese government look bad. Actually, these movies have that. There is no kind of organization that deals with this in China. It's actually dealt with the government, with the Chinese government. They do it internally, which is really weird. It's like nowhere else in the world is that the case. In the the big markets, it's all done by specific organizations, whereas in China, it's specifically done in government, which is insane, but it is a communist government, so I suppose it's a bit different over there. So all of this to say, it's just like my friend that one of the journalists that I know lives in Beijing, and they were saying that a lot of it's kind of bootlegged the way that they watch the film. So they bootleg it from versions in Hong Kong or Taiwan, which is where the film was released on March 18th in both those regions, even though Hong Kong is, I suppose, technically, it's still not part of China yet. It will be eventually, but it was able to be released there. And also the other thing is that cinemas are open in China. So this film would have done pretty well if it had been released in cinemas. One of the things that I was told by someone at HBO Max specifically was that they were worried about the length of the movie, it being 4 hours long, which is true. That is a bit of a worry. That is, if you're releasing it in cinemas, that would be a worry. And that was always a worry for them. But the thing is, the Chinese movies are really long, really, really long. And it's not dissimilar to something they've seen in the past. Avatar did really well in China, and that's very long. It's not quite 4 hours long. It's, I think, just shy of 3 hours. Avengers Endgame did pretty well in China. Avengers Infinity War did pretty well in China. Those movies are both pretty long. So Chinese audiences aren't... they are used to longer film movies. It's something that they're used to. So apparently that was a problem inside Warner Brothers, and they were worried about that. They shouldn't really have been worried about it. They should have just released it. Zack Snyder had a cut specifically for China with certain things taken out and certain things added. I think I was told that there were actually more scenes involving Zheng Kai in the film in his release. That I'm not sure. I can't really I can't say whether that's true or not. That's something I was told. I have no reason to not believe them. But it's the whole thing is just so annoying. It's looking into this more and more and more. it's becoming more and more evident that there's I mean, this is something that I wrote about previously, that there is a rift inside Warner Media, but not just that. It goes further than that. It is toxic inside Warner Brothers specifically at the moment, because Warner Media is a bunch of loads of different companies all put into one. But Warner Brothers, I do wonder whether they're a bit worried about their own future, because we were talking about this before with Sil and Mikey when they're on the show. They are kind of they represent the old way of doing things, and now things are moving on. We know that AT&T are much more invested in HBO Max than they are Warner Brothers specifically. They want the two to continue harmony, in harmony, but that's not an easy thing to do, especially when they're kind of at odds with each other. One company still believes in theatrical releases, the other company doesn't do theatrical releases and thinks streaming's the future. And then the other thing that that's been very strange is how they've been twisting the numbers. So I'm pretty sure you've all seen this. You've seen this graph that was put out there by Variety, and it does. I mean, if you take it at first, the very first time you look at it, I mean, there it is. It's I'll get it up in. You can't really see it there, but I'm so much more used to OBS. You can see that it does a whole thing where it shows the peaks of. So this is weekly % share of time spent with streaming services among US TV Vision panel members. So already that whole thing there is so bloody complicated to understand. What does that mean? What does that mean? Weekly % share of time spent with streaming services among US TV Vision panel members. Honestly, I don't know what that means. So what I'm assuming it means is the amount of time spent with a particular streaming service in the US with people that have this TV Vision thing in their probably in their TVs. So already this number you should take it with a big pinch of salt. But they do show giant peaks where Wonder Woman was debuted, which we all know that did very well for HBO Max. And then Judas debuted and did very well for it as well. And then they got Godzilla versus Kong debuts, and they show the peak. But what the thing is that the peak starts before Kong is released first. And actually, the thing that releases before that period is Zack Snyder's Justice League. They conveniently miss out the moment where Zack Snyder's Justice League is, where it starts to go up already. So you have to put that into consideration, the fact that Zack Snyder's Justice League was released then, and then the graph will continue to go up. The other thing is that this HBO Max is still only available in the United States. So, well, it's available. There's parts of Asia it's available, parts of Latin America, I believe it is coming there soon. But there will come a point where the number of people that can subscribe to this thing is kind of saturated, and it won't really get any better, or there won't be more people subscribing to it until it's released worldwide. Now, I was actually planning an article on the specific release of HBO Max in the UK, which at the moment is a complete nightmare. I've been told. I know people that have actually left the company because of it. Because it's proven to be so difficult to get it released in the UK specifically, which fundamentally is actually quite a big market for something like HBO Max. We've been seeing that, like, Disney Plus has been doing really well in the UK. Netflix has been doing very well in the UK as well. Actually, numbers for Zack Snyder's Justice League, they were really high in the UK. And that was on Sky. And that's one of the big reasons why it's so difficult to get that streaming service released in the UK, is because specifically of Sky. So and I'm going to start looking at the comments because I've been doing a lot of talking. So here we go. Jedi Master EJ says, the Atom, what a wasted opportunity. Cool character. It really was a wasted opportunity, and that was a Zack Snyder idea. He, more than anyone, seemingly was like, we need to really push on China. And he had a cut for the movie ready for China. He was already thinking of spin-offs for the Chinese market specifically. Marvel is now doing this, like, unashamedly with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which is great because I'm really excited for that movie. But let's not like forget the fact that film really has China in mind. and that's just a fact. That is a fact. So Rajnis says you said my name right, but you can call me Raj for short. So that's brilliant. I'm really glad that that I got. That I got your name right. Chubby Teddy Monster Production says, "Man, you see Sil reacting to John Berg apology." No, I haven't yet. I want to see that. I wish I could see that live. What else? We have Carl in the chat. Hey, Edward, thanks for covering this. Such a shitty situation. Really bummed that Warner has handled him and this movie like this. Terrio's interview was damning too. I will go into Terrio. I haven't actually read the whole interview. I'm going to be honest, because it dropped when my kind of day finishes, which is totally normal for me. It always happens. Leroy King says all these execs at Warner Brothers should be fired. A lot of them should. Honestly, at this point, a lot of them should. Jedi Master EJ says, listen, all of this is sabotage. Completely right. Kazax is in the chat. I hope you're doing well, Kazax. It is just me today, so I'm going to be a little bit light on the clips. Unfortunately, I know you guys all love the clips. I'm trying to find yours. Here we go.
Hello there.
Hello there. Who else do we? Kazakh says CCP doesn't need anybody to look bad. The Communist Chinese Party, the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah, you're right. Varlo says hit that like button. Yes, please do hit that like button. And then I'm sure AT&T are really happy that Warner Brothers stood firm on their anti-Snyder bias, even if they lost out on millions by denying China release. China release. I'm sure AT&T are not interested in making money. Now I can. Yeah, that's dripping with with sarcasm, which I love. Raj says makes sense. China's a massive market, which makes Warner Brothers execs look even more stupid for interfering in Justice League and cutting out Ryan Choi's The Atom from Zack Snyder's Justice League. True. Is Winnie the Pooh banned in China? Oh man, that's great. Unfortunately, Kazakh's Mikey isn't here tonight. I wanted to do like a really big thing on this, but people are busy. Tutalani says people on Sil's channel might have tasted Hamada's ice creams. I think I know why you're saying that. The graph, yes, the graph. Oh man, that bogus graph. And it's Sky Atlantic, and yeah, Dan's right. Sky has a deal with HBO Max. And then says AC says, you know why I'm here. I don't know why you're here, but thank you for being here. I don't know why you're here. Let's give you this.
Cocainum.
So I'm still trying to do the clips. I'm doing everything. Where's James? James is James is dealing with some stuff at the moment, so he couldn't be here tonight. That's a shame. I do love it when James is here. It makes my life a lot easier when James is here. I know people think that I find the clips annoying. They give me a break because otherwise it'd just be me talking for an hour. Raj says Warner Brothers PR and image is a complete nightmare. Exposes creative interference. Ignoring fans and accusations of enabling abuse. Wouldn't be surprised if people start getting fired. They can't take another L. You are completely right, Raj. You are completely right. Worldwide numbers with Asia will skyrocket. The Snyder Cut. Now, Dim, I don't think the film's ever going to be released in China. That's what I'm hearing. They just don't want it. They don't want it in China, which is really, really annoying. It's super annoying, actually, because that film would do really well in China. I did in the article. If you read the article, I did go into a bit how Zack Snyder's Justice League was actually trending on Weibo, which is like a blogging website over in China. It's very, very popular. So people were watching it. People were finding it. So one of the ways they were finding it was using third-party apps. I was told by the journalist in China, because I have no idea. Before this, I had no idea how they actually got to watch this film, and I was actually really interested to know why and how. And he said there is a way to watch the film in China. For example, you search on a secondhand exchange app and pay a little, and you get a link to the film. So that's how he found it, and it wasn't particularly legal. But yeah, it was trending on Weibo, which is a very popular blogging site in China. So it meant that people wanted to watch this film. People were talking about this film in China. And it just goes to show that how narrow, like the tunnel vision that Warner Brothers has. because they weren't really thinking about the Snyderverse beyond Justice League. They were thinking Zack Snyder's Justice League, we'll release that, the fans will stop asking for it, and then we can get on and do our own thing. We can start working with J.J. Abrams. We can do more stuff with Bad Robot. We can do more of the the kind of interconnected TV shows on HBO Max. That's really what they wanted, and that's what Ann Sarnoff was talking about. The thing is that everything that's happened since Zack Snyder's Justice League was released has been completely and utterly wrong. If Warner Brothers was clever, which is an interesting sentence, they would have just said, they would have come out afterwards and been like, the movie's doing brilliant, the fans are reacting to it brilliantly, we are so pleased with the fan reaction to this, we're so happy that the fans could see this, thank you so much to Zack Snyder for all the hard work he's done on this. He's produced a brilliant film. The critics love it. Look at the Rotten Tomato scores. Fans love it. Look at the interaction online. We wish Snyder the best moving forward, and we're very excited about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad coming out pretty soon. That's all you needed to say. You didn't even have to make reference to the fact that no, we're stopping the Snyderverse. No, we're not releasing David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Fans are toxic, which is literally what that Variety article boiled down to. And ever since Zack Snyder's Justice League was released, they've just made mistake after mistake after mistake. So one of the Sarnoff interview was a massive mistake. The cancellation announcing that Ava DuVernay's New Gods film and James Wan's The Trench movie were cancelled. They said that they might move forward with them in the future, but let's be honest, they cancelled them on April Fool's Day. It's just, you could not write this stuff. You could not come up with this stuff if you tried. It's just insane. So there's a lot of rubbish that's going on at the moment over at Warner Brothers, which is such a shame. And I like Bidder's comment, bad reboot. That is brilliant. That is so good. I really, really like that. And honestly, will it be a bad reboot? I actually think it will. I think it'll be a pretty bad reboot. But just everything that's happened since has been a complete and utter nightmare. Let's be honest. And I mean, it would have been an easy win for them to try. Well, it wouldn't have been easy for them to get the film released in China. It wouldn't have been easy at all. Let's be honest, because it's not an easy thing to do. It's only 34 films per year. So I get that. But then again, how many films do they have releasing this year? At the moment, it's not that many. It's not that many. They could have done it. They could have got it done. They could have got it over the line. But what I was told is they actively prevented this film from releasing. I'm pretty sure. And again, this then goes back to Zack Snyder's tweet where he said platform availability will depend on each territory with the exception of China, France, and Japan, where release dates are to be decided. Additional details for specific markets will be shared soon. So in France, it was released on March 18th. In Japan, it was as well. In China, it just hasn't. Nothing happened. And Zack's made it very obvious in interviews that how he feels about the Chinese market and how he thinks it's a really good opportunity for movies and how they need to focus on that more. And that's why he wanted to do the Atom spin-off. That was the main reason why I wanted to do that. So they honestly, at the end of all of this, the only thing I can think is the only way forward for them is probably by hiring Zack Snyder, because he seems to be the only one with a clue at the moment. And he's a filmmaker. He's not a studio exec. He's a producer. He's produced films, so he understands that area of the market. But he's never been in charge of a studio. He's in charge of his own Stone Quarry with his wife Barbara. But maybe the best way for them is to do that, is to put them both in charge. But unfortunately, Warner Brothers will never do that because there are too many egos involved, and they would just never ever want them to put them in charge because of ego, because they have pride. And again, they're very much set in the old ways of doing things in Hollywood, which is just such a shame, because you think you get someone like Ann Sarnoff in who does come from an interesting background. She works at the BBC, so then again, the BBC in the UK is still pretty old school. So even though they do produce some relatively decent series every now and then, they're still pretty old school. So let's have a look at your your comments. Sorry. So Sill's going to be here in 10 minutes, apparently. Their dumb plan only worked if the Snyder Cut wasn't good. Exactly. And all that bollocks before about the fact that they thought the movie was unwatchable was just ridiculous. It was great. It was great. So it's now screwed their plans and then fucked up the pivot message. Yep, completely true. Amateurs, exactly. Exactly. Own it, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers should own it. They really should. Chris Terrio is basically saying Zack Snyder needs to fight the devil, Toby Emmerich, and his army, Warner Brothers in hell. That's good. That's a nice clef notes of the article. The Last Jedi Neckbeard said, "This is my new favorite channel. What's good, everyone?" Thank you very much. Let's give him a clip. What clip shall we give him? I don't. I don't know how he does this. Let's do this.
You and he were buddies, weren't you?
Once.
Yep, that one. Shall we do another one? Shall we give him another one? Let's give him another one. Let's give him this.
And I do think that moving forward, there's more opportunities for us to do things.
Let's get him off screen. Right. What else do we have in the chat? AT&T are good. They didn't want to. Sorry, AT&T are good. They didn't want to return on investment for the 70 million. Oh, be a fly on the wall at Warner Brothers boardroom. It would be a scene right now of the Hudsucker proxy. That's a really good, dude. Dan, you're very good at this. You're very good at it. Canceling Ava's movie on April Fool's Day is the most Warner Brothers thing. So true. So true. Hi, Double MJ. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. That would require Warner Brothers to be humble, and we all know that's not the case. Hashtag Toxic Bros. So true. Tuslani says, "Yo, Ed, let's be honest. How long will it take before some people, including Toby and Warner Brothers, get fired? Because this is bad press. They won't survive this storm. More people are coming out." Now, honestly, I don't think Toby's going to be fired, mainly because there's no one else that can do his job at the moment. They might have to bring in someone from, honestly, maybe someone from Netflix or someone, but it wouldn't be like one of the main studios, because Toby Emmerich comes, I can't remember what, he was always kind of involved in Warner Brothers. I'm kind of blanking on where he came from before. You guys might know better in the chat. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my head at the moment, but like, honestly, I can't really see anyone else taking that position. Now, as far as Hamada, Sarnoff are concerned, they're the two ones that are probably a bit worried for their jobs right now. You could get anybody really for those jobs. The Hamada one's a bit trickier. I honestly think Zack Snyder should. The more I think about it, the more obvious it becomes, because he listens to people. He's more inclusive. He was literally the guy that was like, we need to get, like, Cyborg needs to be the main character of our movie. You know, he's all about inclusivity, and he's people seem to love working with him. So, oh yeah, and Count Faulkner says it was New Line. That's where he was before. That's where Toby Emmerich was before. You are right. Thank you very much for clarifying that. So, sorry, I do need these breaks. It's weird doing it just all look. So, AC says, how can you reboot a franchise when it's just started? It's easier just to fire all Warner Brothers executives and restore the Snyderverse. True that. And then the Kazakh says, at Danzig, AT&T got their return on investment day the day they announced the cut. It made huge savings on marketing for HBO Max. It's so true. Tim Burton, McGee, George Miller, JJ all had Superman films which never got off the ground. This will be a very expensive film. It is a riskier gamble than Man of Steel 2. So what film are you talking about there specifically, Dan? I'm not sure. I think I'm probably missed something in the chat. Okay, let's talk about films that are announced and never come out. Warner Brothers is very good at this. They're very good at announcing films that never see the light of day. So you could do a list of movies that they've announced over the years, and New Gods and The Trench will just be added to that list. There are so many movies, especially as far as DC films are concerned. They just announce a shit ton of films and then never release them, and it's just absolutely bonkers. Honestly, you don't see this. You don't see this with Marvel, and I know people might be a bit annoyed me comparing DC to Marvel in this aspect, but honestly, it's a valid comparison to make, because they're literally in the same business. They make movies and they make comic book movies. And the way it's just there's so much more planning going on and so much more thinking by the looks of it going on over at Marvel compared to DC, that it's just mind-boggling. Warner Brothers is super reactionary. They just react to everything, and anytime something even slightly goes wrong for them, then they just completely change course and do something completely different. And that was literally the case with Justice League and Suicide Squad. They were the two. They're probably the two main cases of that. And then we end up getting Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it turns out that actually it's pretty darn good. And this was the film that we probably would have got the whole time, not as long. It would have been a cut-down version of it, which also I hear that it actually was going to be shorter than 4 hours for Chinese markets, for the Chinese market, sorry. So it just makes them look so bad. It makes them look terrible. The fact that they can't seem to string a kind of cohesive or build a cohesive cinematic universe. It's not like they haven't had the time as well. Like they were kind of faffing around with stuff that kind of, honestly, like the Birds of Prey thing, I don't think really added anything. And they make a lot of films that don't add anything to the cinematic universe as a whole for them personally. Like even Suicide Squad, it was a cool idea, but did it really add anything apart from introducing Harley Quinn into the DCU? Not really. We haven't seen, Deadshot spin-offs since, or like any sort, there's been no Enchantress spin-off since that film came out. So Marvel plans every film very deliberately. Honestly, let's be honest. Iron Man 2 and Thor 2 sucked. They were both terrible. But Marvel kept to their, they stuck to their guns and carried on. They learned from their mistakes. They course corrected. They do that a lot. They course correct. There's nothing wrong with course correcting, but what Warner Brothers does is they panic, fire people, bring in people like Joss Whedon, and just make a complete mess. Or even worse, honestly, I think, is hire a bloody trailer company to re-edit your movie, which is the stupidest thing you could do. So honestly, at this point, yeah, Sil could run Warner Brothers, and he would do a much better job than what they're doing at the moment. I would advise him. I don't know how well we'd end up doing if we were to be in that position, but it'd be pretty cool. So let's go back into the comments. So Emmerich came in from New Line Cinema. Thank you, Count Falca. Here we go. Do you get the feeling that there's going to be more articles dropping from others? Yes. And I know of a couple of people in the industry that or let's just say in the UK, there'll be something on the Daily Mirror about this. They have quite a few sources that they stole some of mine, but that's fine. I don't mind. But I used to work there. I used to work at the Daily Mirror. And probably because the Daily Mirror in the UK is owned by Reach, you'll probably see the similar things on the Express. But I mean, the Express is terrible. I did work there as well. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. I know a lot of UK publications are going to start doing things. GQ magazine might come out with something. The thing is, at the moment, you've pretty much had all the big trades in the US write about this, and we've already seen where their allegiances lie. So Variety and Deadline both published very pro Warner Brothers pieces. So Variety did the Ansanoff interview, and Deadline did that whole thing about the HBO Max numbers for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and really skewed those numbers, like insanely skewed those numbers that came out of Samba TV. Incidentally, Sil did a really good interview with the president, I think, of Samba TV. You should go and check that out because that was great. But and then we've seen the Hollywood Reporter come out with something with the Ray Fisher article, which was very anti Warner Brothers, and now this from Vanity Fair, which is really damning. Chris Terrio just, the title alone, these titles are brilliant that they come up with. Justice League screenwriter is super pissed off. The Argo Oscar winner is tired of being hated by the haters and despises what happened to his DC films too. So he's very much with you guys. He's pissed off. The 2017 theatrical cut was an act of vandalism, he said. Zack may be too much of a gentleman to say that, but I'm not. So big words from Chris Terrio there. And I absolutely adore that he's done this, because we've needed people like him to talk out, to really speak out about what happened And honestly, the stuff he was being told how to write things by not by executives, but actually by what are they called? By investors, which is just insane. It's like investors don't know anything about anything. They just want to make money. That's all they care about. They don't know how to write a script. It's like it's insane. It's really insane what happened at Warner Brothers during the course of these movies. Like the Batman versus Superman and Justice League films were absolutely plagued by studio interference, but not just from the studio itself, but from investors. It's just pure insanity, honestly, pure insanity. What else do we have in the comments? Let's go into the comments. Argus is in the comments. Hey everyone, let's get you a here we go.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
There you go. That's for you, Argus. By the bidders, who says they just wrecked the whole ship. They did. They really did. And Snyder's Stephen Wolf says Iron Man 3 was terrible as well, but I love Iron Man 2. I'm of the opposite opinion. I think Iron Man 2 is terrible, but I like Iron Man 3. But each to their own. That's what's great about movies. You can have opinions about them that aren't the same as everyone else. Ed, what's Jeff Johns' future? Because he's another guy who is under massive fire. Jeff Johns, I don't think he'll be involved with DC projects moving forward. At least if Warner Brothers knew what was good for them, they'd get rid of him. So here we go. According to your sources, Ed, the Ayer cut should be completed this month. Yeah, it should. So David Ayer has been working on it in the background for a while now. So the actual cut, his thing is done. It's pretty much done. Like this month, probably now already. I actually don't know about like the specific date, but I was told that in April this film will be done and ready to be released. And they won't require any additional photography or anything like that, because basically he did the whole film anyway. So his film was completed before the movie came out. Really, he's just been tweaking it a little bit here and there, and apparently getting some visual effects stuff done on the film. But like again, he's been working with people that he works with all the time on that. So I mean, they're happy with it. They think it's great. He thinks he's made one of the best comic book movies ever. So I mean, are we ever going to get to see it? I really hope so. But then I'm going to be honest, with the way things are at Warner Brothers, you just can't. Things change from day to day with them, and you really can't predict anything that's happening, even though you're being told stuff by some people. I mean, again, I'm going to be honest. I work mostly with people that work in the UK, in London specifically, because they're the contacts that I had when I was working in London as a journalist over there, and they get told things and then things can change the next day, specifically with Warner Brothers, which is actually why it's very interesting to cover Warner Brothers stuff, because as a company, it's completely nuts. So I mean, they literally change things overnight, and it's annoying, but it's also quite fun to cover. It makes my life quite interesting. It's annoying, but it does make things quite interesting. Let's go into the comments a bit more. Netflix collaboration with Sony putting more pressure for Disney and HBO. Possibly. I didn't know they were collaborating more with Sony. That's something that's new to me. Hey, Kazakh says, but DC got a solid plan, lol, until they panicked. True. That is true. They did have a solid plan. Maybe they shouldn't have done the Batman versus Superman film so soon. I think they probably should have started off with a Batman film and then done a Man of Steel 2 film and then done a BVS film. And I think that would have been more, rather than kind of going full tilt towards Justice League, because then you could have got Wonder Woman 2. I mean, I know I keep on talking about Marvel, but look at how long it took them to get to the Avengers. Like, it took a while. I mean, you really need, I think Batman really needed, at least Batman, he needed his own film. And then BVS could have been like that first Avengers film. And then, which it really should have been. So you start off with Man of Steel, then you get the Batman film, then the Wonder Woman film, and then you get Batman versus Superman, where you have Wonder Woman come into that as well. And then you have the Flash movie. This is how I would have done it. And then I would have had Cyborg in the Flash film. So you could have introduced both of those characters together. I know in the end they introduced them in BVS, but to be honest, I would have waited to introduce those characters. So then you've already got a pretty solid basis there, because you've basically introduced all your Justice League in their own not their own movies, but you've introduced the Trinity in their own movies, so Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and then you've introduced Cyborg and the Flash in a Flash movie or a Flashpoint film, or maybe something a little less kind of Flashpoint. To me, I do see that kind of as an Avengers type film, but then have those films and have Wonder Woman 2, Man of Steel 2, possibly a Batman 2. And then that leads into Justice League, and that would make so much more sense as far as a plan is concerned. But they wanted that BVS straight away, and I think that was the problem. I really do think that was the problem, that they went too quick into that movie. And I'm pretty sure Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio would have loved to have done a solo Batman film. I think they did want to do the Dark Knight Returns. That was really what they wanted to do, but I would have just waited a movie, at least one movie, for doing that, because I think Ben Affleck's Batman really needed his own, because they kind of did it the wrong way around, because then they kind of greenlit Ben Affleck's Batman movie after BVS, which kind of didn't. To me, I think it would have made more sense if they'd done almost like a long Halloween type film with Ben Affleck's Batman. That would have been pretty. I think that would have been really cool. But I mean, do let me know what you think of my idea. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if you'd like it that much. So we've got honestly here. Raj says honestly with Warner. You've already. Sorry, this is a new one. Sorry. Warner Brothers' image crumbling around it. I wouldn't be surprised if directors, writers, and actors avoid the studio in the future, especially with other studios who can match the money and better reps. Now, that I think is actually going to happen. I think we've already seen directors leave. Literally, I don't think Christopher Nolan is going to work with Warner Brothers again. I don't think Denis Villeneuve is going to work with Warner Brothers again. I doubt that James Gunn will work with Warner's again. And all of that is down to the fact that they decided to release all their films in 2021 on streaming, all their blockbusters, and then where they could release them in cinemas. Now, they did announce that in 2022, they're going to release the movies in cinemas first, but they're still going to release them on streaming, which is the thing is they should have just had a talk with all their directors and investors and Legendary. They should have spoken to Legendary. The fact they didn't just again shows how such a badly run company it is. So let's go. This is a big one. That's where Henry Cavill lives. So here we go. EJ, when it comes to signing off on Calvin Ellis Superman, do you think AT&T will give the New Gods the New Gods pass? Well, that's interesting. I mean, you put that to Jedi Master EJ, probably. Who knows? Now we do have. Let's see if he's ready. Is he ready? He might not be actually. He is waiting. I'll just do this all myself. I can't. I'm someone that's very bad at multitasking, so do bear with me. What else do we have? So it makes you wonder if Ben or Zach will do an interview. So we do have actually. I do have something planned for possibly tomorrow involving Ben Affleck specifically. So do look out for that. That's a little plug for an article that I've got coming out tomorrow. It's a good one. It's one that I've been working on for a while, so I'm really excited for you guys to read it. Our man, yes. Well, that's something that Walter Hamada really wants people to see. So, honestly, that's just absolutely bonkers. What else do we have? We have Mikey Sutton's in the chat. How are you doing, Mikey? Again, Johns has more projects with Berlanti. They like him there, but burned on the film side. So true, Mikey. That honestly, that is a shame. What happened? It's just everything that's happening at the moment with Berlanti. Honestly, he's one of the people that a lot of one of the guys that a lot of people think could be a candidate to bring the DCU forward. I think he might be. Who else do we have in the chat? Let's go. Is Mikey coming on? We need him for this. Mikey might come on. He might. I have sent him a link. So if he checks his, actually maybe not. Maybe it didn't work. Something went wrong. Of course it did. But he should be coming on at some point. Hopefully. Damn, he hasn't got the link. Oh, that's annoying. Facebook's not working. Of Of course, it isn't. Something went wrong with Facebook. Oh dear. But basically, everything that's happening at the moment with Warner Brothers is completely mad, and I would like to know what you think they should do. yeah. Come on, fucking Mikey. Let's give. Honestly, the way James has organized these clips is just absolutely nuts.
Come on, just fucking Mikey.
And this
win-win situations. Win-win situations.
It really is a win-win situation, isn't it? And before
Go over there and hit the fucking like button. All right, you hit it now. You motherfucking hit the fucking like. I just told you to hit the motherfucking like button. So you gotta do it right now. Do it.
Hamada burger. Hamada burger. Sounds rather delicious. Right, I think I need this guy in the stream now.
I'm here. I'm finishing up my nachos right now, so but I'm here.
I've been trying to send the link to Mikey, but for some reason Facebook's not working.
You know how that goes.
Yeah, that's literally the only way I can contact Mikey is on Facebook, because he's not on Twitter. It's all James. Everything else is James. So when James isn't around, it's literally what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the chat. So then we'll just end up getting everyone. Oh no, an error occurred. What's going on? I think Facebook is down.
Really?
I think Facebook's down. That's insane. Yeah, there's an error.
You'll see Mikey pop up as Mikey Sutton. So
yeah. But oh man, how are you doing? I saw your stream earlier about the Chris Terrio thing. It's insane. Yeah. It's insane.
Crazy. I had a fiery stream about that, and there was some mixed feelings about how people should take it, and we kind of got into the old Ray Fisher article too. There you go, Mikey.
Here we go. Mikey's in.
I had a fiery stream about that, and he's films about how.
Okay, he's got a delay, so I'll put the mute mic on him for a bit.
Right.
Yeah, but honestly, the Chris Terrio thing. So he's super pissed off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he's super pissed off because honestly, the way they treated him and Zack Snyder is just completely insane. There's a lot of stuff in this article. So, what if people haven't read it yet? What do you think's the main takeaway?
Oh my goodness! Like once I got to the part where they paraded Terrio around the investors, basically, of the film,
yeah,
and the investors was telling Terrio how to do his craft, which was insane. This is after Terrio won an Oscar for Argo with Ben Affleck, and they were subjecting him to investors' input on how to write Batman. Insane, man. I was appalled. I read that first live, so like that was my first time reading that.
Yeah,
so I was appalled by that, man.
Well, it just goes to show that everything that's been said about Warner Brothers by, I'm not going to say yours truly, but by me and Mikey and you, has been pretty much spot on. Warner Brothers just does not care about anybody by the looks of it, apart from Warner Brothers. And the fact that they hire someone who is an Oscar-winning writer to write their movie and then tell him how to write their movie is just insane. And it's investors. That's what you saying. It's investors that were telling him how to write a film, as if investors know how to write a movie. Like
they just wanted him to say "booyah." But I guess Mikey, he's ready. Yeah, you gotta mute it.
Hey, Mikey, sorry, we could hear a delay when you're on.
Hey, sorry about that.
That's all right. How you doing, Mikey?
I just finally plugged in here, and Facebook is not working for some reason. It's not working on my laptop, but it works on my phone.
Facebook's down. That's insane because this live goes out to Facebook, but then again, it doesn't matter because the only people that really watch this are on YouTube, so that's fine. Yeah, but Facebook's down. People, honestly, the only reason I go on Facebook anymore is to go onto your page, Mikey. So that's about it.
Well, I guess what if Warner Brothers like fooling around with our Facebook accounts?
So
I wouldn't put it past them at this point.
No, I wouldn't put anything past Warner Brothers at this point. So did you read? First off, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I just got my Pfizer shot number 2.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but so far I haven't been crawling the walls or
No superpowers.
no superpowers. I haven't been flying yet. No adamantium claws coming out. So next couple of hours we'll know. Now, if I start leaking shit next hour, you know something went wrong.
The Holy Trinity in the house. Here you go. We're the real
There
Trinity.
you go. Are you sure I'm not Mephisto though? I don't know.
I don't know. I think I'll put myself. I'll actually. I'll tell. We've got Sil. Sil will be Black Superman. Yeah.
Hello, Sil.
In the rebooted Justice League.
Calvin Ellis.
Calvin Ellis. I'll be Supergirl. And who can you be? I suppose Robert Pattinson's Batman. That's what will happen.
Man, we're screwed. We're screwed if that's the one.
Man. I tell you, so here's the latest. Every day that I hear gossip, every single day now.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're calling us troublemakers, all three of us. You and your fellow troublemakers. That guy in England and the black dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to have to add Chris Terrio to that list as well.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Chris Terrio, Ray Fisher. Next, I mean, Zack Snyder's a troublemaker as well for them as well because he never shuts up. He has been quite quiet recently, though.
One of my longtime insiders, actually, I spoke to him today, and his behavior is a little peculiar now. He's like, "Is there any way we can get you guys on the Hamada train?" And I'm like, wait a minute. You were the guy that was giving me all this dirt years ago. Now you want me to get me on the Hamada train. Like,
hey, did you offer him a Hamada burger?
Right.
With some son-off sauce.
He goes, are you ever going to give us some positive press? I said, give you some good news, I'll give you positive press. But
oh my god!
Yeah, so it's not full blast panic right now. There is tremendous worry about the new DC projects coming up, and Hamada is a little concerned they might not even go through anymore.
Okay.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I think this deserves this reaction. He's not here, but I'm still doing the clips.
Yeah,
I'm still giving the people what they want.
There's a little bit of concern about a backlash towards some of these projects.
I'm talking about the extraordinary.
Not because they're good or bad, but because the fans are just going to outright reject them. And and the whole Hour Man thing.
That's what got him upset, Mikey. That Hour Man.
This. I mean, Danzig really doesn't want them to cancel Hour Man. He is desperate for that movie. Seriously.
So what I'm hearing is, I mentioned this in the chat.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers is going to weaponize Godzilla versus Kong. Whatever numbers it gets.
Oh,
to drown out the Snyder Cut noise.
You know what the funny thing about that film? Funny thing, I've been talking to a lot of people based in China for the Justice League China article I did, and they were talking a lot about Godzilla versus Kong, and they were like, one of them said Godzilla versus Kong it hasn't done very well in China. It's behind Sisters in China, and Sisters is a Chinese movie, and that's done really well. So it did make some money in China. Mm-hmm. He said the reason Chinese people aren't going to see Godzilla vs. Kong is because there's no emotional impact in that film, and Chinese audiences love emotional impact in movies. And I was like, okay, so does that mean they would have liked Justice League? And he said, oh, they love Justice League. It's not like he's like Chinese people are watching Justice League. They're just finding, they're finding not so legal ways to watch it, and that's why it's trending on Weibo.
Good for them.
Yeah, and honestly, I was asking around about whether the film will end up getting a release in China, and at the moment it looks like they're not going to even try. They didn't try to begin with, and they're not trying now. So honestly, now if they go on about Godzilla versus Kong, fine. Whatever you do, don't release another stupid graph like you did. Which honestly, that graph. The more I look at that graph,
It's just absolutely insane. It just doesn't make any sense. I was reading, I was like, what is this actually a graph of? It's literally, I was thinking I could write a bloody graph.
That was so deliberate. It was so deliberate.
Like, and just point, have an arrow pointing down. Justice League releases here, and then just go, and then say yes.
Dude.
Never, James.
It's so deliberate.
Yeah, I just let's make a graph on the interest level between Snyder Cut and Our Man, right?
Oh man, yeah,
diminishing returns, right?
Okay, this graph says weekly percentage share of time spent with streaming services among US TV Vision or T-Vision panel members. So, who are these T-Vision panel members? Who are these people? And then it says source TV Vision note, debut dates reflect US HBO Max release dates. Data reflects US viewership across connected TVs, connected TV devices. So what is this? And it says Variety Intelligence Platform.
Intelligence.
It's a VIP.
Quote unquote intelligence.
Oh, honestly, the fact that this was released, this is a mockery. It genuinely makes a mockery of Warner Brothers, and Variety as well. Like literally, they come up.
It literally shows the rise is coming up during the Snyder Cut, and then it crescendoed when Godzilla vs. Kong came out. That's literally what the graph shows.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
And what the hell's Judas?
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It's like, what's Judas? That's short for
Judas? I've never heard of Judas.
Judas and the Black Messiah that came out in February.
Oh, it's just called. Oh, okay. Well, that makes okay.
I thought that was their pet name for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
So too, I was trying to put it together. Like, okay, the J stands for this.
Well, yeah, that actually did quite well according to Samba and Little Things. So they kind of lowballed those films, but it showed the crescendo is going up for the Snyder Cut.
Yeah,
but it tried to give
it does.
We're not supposed to know that, so.
And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing.
See, honestly, James, I was trying to do your job and my job at the same time, and it's literally impossible. I
tried it yesterday, and it was like I was in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
so
it's so horrible.
I was on 4 hours of sleep yesterday. I was just like, oh man, I was like, I gotta wake up early the morning the next day. And I'm like,
okay. So what happened? What happened now? Like again, I wake up and another something dropped. Something about Chris Terrio, I saw.
Yeah, Chris Terrio is super pissed off with Warner Brothers.
Oh my god!
Oh, and he's speaking out. He's really speaking out.
I love the quote. Zach may be too much of a gentleman to say that, but I'm not. So he said the 2017 theatrical cut was an act of vandalism. And honestly, this whole you have to read this because.
Can we share the screen?
Yeah, I'll share the screen.
It is a lot in this article.
Wait, I'll share the screen. Here we go. Sorry, this is. Here we go.
All right,
talk over me. Here you go.
It's so much in this article, like literally.
Пошли, все вместе. Какие ваши доказательства? Cocainum.
So I just made it a bit bigger for you guys so you can actually read it because it was on a small. But honestly, here we go. Where are the main points? You can go over the main points.
I'll read it. Yeah, just look Danzig's comment right there.
It's so true. Is it true that people are saying that Chris Terrio is banned from the Warner Brothers set, from the Justice League set? So I wasn't banned. The attitude was, we'll take it from here. Frankly, I was shocked. I saw the Snyder Cut, and I saw how much of the original script was shot with small revisions, and they shot.
You're not banned, though.
Script, and I understand that sometimes it was a battle for Zack. So he said, I wasn't banned, but they didn't let me on the set. So it's literally what he said. The versions of Just Speed were assembled after. So when those personal touches were removed in the film version, I was silent because I couldn't really say anything. but of course it hurt. All that remained was a dinosaur skeleton of what had been a great lumbering beast. It might have been a big unruly beast, and obviously it's 4 hours, and the movie is maximalist and operatic, and sure, it's a little crazy, but I think the movie is crazy in the best way. So, he's kind of saying, he's saying that the film they did was big. It was, but it was big for a reason.
I have a question for you guys. Do you remember the days when WB put out hit pieces on Deadline and Vanity Fair and THR against Snyder Cut? And now it's like the tables have turned. Yeah. What's going on? What changed? What was that, so?
Until like a week ago, they put out a hit piece.
Yeah. What's changed? What's changed internally that now? Do you think they're getting backbones? All these publications are starting to get backbones, or what?
I think at this point the truth is gonna come out, and they just can't keep covering this up.
I think you guys, Geekosity and Small Screen, kind of kicked them in the ass to start telling the truth.
Well, I think you were still asleep, James, but apparently still Ed and I are troublemakers. We're being called troublemakers.
I caught a little bit of that when I was making tea.
So
that's my goal, in life.
All this shit you're talking about The Rock and the multiverse and
Hamadaverse.
And
who told you about Diversity Verse?
Or Disconnect Verse. But shout out to the Hollywood Reporter, because Kim Masters has been talking about Jeff Johns recently, about how he was trying to delay the story from breaking yesterday or the other day. So like you said, Mikey, maybe everyone knows the story's about to hit the surface. So they're ready just to put it out, So
it's gonna more and more people are going to speak up as a problem, and they can't stop it. They had Ray Fisher and just Chris Terrio just like letting it all out now. More is going to happen.
I think more and more. I honestly do think Walter Hamada's going to start a burger joint. at this rate, he is going to start a Hamada burger. But this is the bit that for me is actually quite burger. Of the article that Chris Terry did, they asked him how he felt after the journey ended prematurely with Justice League's upheaval. He said, "I went into such a deep depression when the film was taken away and rewritten. I didn't even feel entitled to be depressed because Zack and Debbie were dealing with their family tragedy. Measured against that, losing the film you wrote seems like nothing at all, but it did hurt. It hurts so to think that I cared so much about these characters and worked on nothing else for a very long time." And it's just so a line. He does talk about how investors were telling him how to write. Was it write a certain character? Still,
Batman. Yeah, they was trying to tell him how to write Batman after BVS, right? So,
oh god,
insane. Again, Terrio as an Oscar at that time, he won the Oscar for Argo as writer and screenplay writer. So insane that Warner Bros. Subjected him, to that scrutiny. Crazy.
Yeah. I've spoken to people who tell me he is one of the best screenwriters of his generation. Mm-hmm. And you're telling this guy what to do? Seriously.
And think about this too. When he signed on to do all the Justice League films. So, like you said, he devoted a lot of time. He has the whole story mapped out for Justice League 2 and 3 on top of this. So they really took away like years of work from him. It was crazy.
And it's really funny, Ed. People were mentioning Greg Berlanti in the chat earlier. That's why I brought that up. Jeff Johns. I got this weird phone call early this morning before I got my shot. This insider, I've dealt with him in the past. He's brought some really good information to me. And he said, "Hey, if you have an hour sometime, I got some Jeff Johns news for you. Some really good news about Jeff Johns." I'm like, why is this coming out now? Why am I hearing this now? It's just it's again, all the stuff that came out the past few days. They're gonna do everything to cover it up. Everything.
Frosty the Snowman 2.
There you go.
Official.
It's official. But yeah, he told me, he's he's got his place at with Greg Berlanti. He's got more projects coming up for them, and like unbelievable. It's just like, and I don't know if he's listening right now. I don't care. I mean, I just.
You saying Jeff Johns has more work lined up? Is that what you said?
Oh yeah, with Greg Berlanti's production outfit.
And that's what we suspected. Yeah.
CW and HBO Max.
Honestly, though, if Jeff Johns is still going to be around this time next year, I will be really, really shocked because they need to get rid of somebody, and they need to get rid of somebody that's well known. They can't.
What about Amber Heard, Edward?
Oh, they need to get rid of Amber Heard anyway. Like, if she's going to do another British accent in her next movie, then you just get rid of her. But no, there's a bit in this article that I wanted to highlight. They ask about the critical reaction to BVS, the negative reaction, and then about Justice League. What was the atmosphere like then? And he said there was a mood of fear at the studio, no doubt. My impression was that people in the boardroom started making the decisions, and they were decisions based on arbitrary metrics that had nothing to do with the stories that were being told.
Yeah.
So they're doing the same thing again, basically. They're doing exactly the same thing again. And then that's when he goes into how the studio had there were tensions on his writing, and that's when the clever investors came in and started telling an Oscar-winning writer how to write a script.
Oh my God.
A bunch of 70-year-old white dudes.
But, I got this weird question yesterday from a source. Late last night, we were just talking about everything that's going on, and he asked, he goes, "I just want your opinion on something." I said, "Sure, I can go ahead. Ask away." And he goes, "Well, you're half Filipino, right? You're half Asian." I said, "Yeah, I'm half Asian." Well, in your opinion, how would you feel about an Asian Hour Man? And I'm like, what? Like, are you hinting at something? I said, why don't you just make that Ryan Choi Adam movie with Zack Snyder?
Yeah.
Was this after Edward's article about the Chinese box office numbers?
It was. When did you post that, Edward? It was around 9:00 last night.
Oh no, that would have been before that then.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a joke. Don't worry.
The more I read this article, the worse it gets. Honestly, guys.
It's designed that way, I think, too. It's pretty
bad. So these guys were in charge because they controlled the money at the very top of the pyramids. They were making big decisions, not the film executives we're talking about, but Wall Street guys. So this makes sense. What's the name of the guy that was the producer on many films that then went into Donald Trump's cabinet? Munchin, or what's Steve Munchin or something?
Steve Munchin.
Is that his name?
Munchin,
yeah. He was a producer on Suicide Squad, and I believe he was also a producer on BVS.
Whoa, I had no idea.
He's literally just a Wall Street guy. One guy who I can only describe as the man who central casting sends you when you're trying to cast douchebag number 1 pulled me aside and started telling me how to write Batman. I'm not naive. I bet you that was Steve Munch, whatever his name is, Munchenhausen or whatever. I know that if you don't want to have any back and forth with money people, then you should write poetry because you don't need hundreds of millions of dollars. But something about the distribution of power at the time seemed to me off. It was removing even the pretense that Capital wasn't calling the shot. That Capital wasn't calling the shots. So it's just bonkers.
I want to cover this story just to have those quotes in there.
The
pull quote is look at that pull quote there, man. It's huge. It's hilarious.
Honestly, it's so bad. And then Kevin, I can never say his name, Sujihara.
Yeah. And Kim Masters wrote the expose on him as well.
The T is silent.
Yeah, the dude is silent. Should never talk again. Like, honestly, he does not come up well. He doesn't come out well of this either. Like, but the really sad thing is that it hasn't changed. It really hasn't changed at Warner Brothers. They went through all this crap, and they're going through it again, and just with different people. But the reason is because they don't change the way they are. They're an old school studio, and they still do things the old school way. but unfortunately, the fact of the matter is that there's a studio out there that's doing it much better, and I know people hate the fact that people compare DC to Marvel, but you kind of have to, because as I was saying before, they both make comic book movies, and the way Warner Brothers is run is preventing us from getting decent comic book films. Like somehow we still manage to get them. Zack Snyder's Justice, but it's not thanks to Warner Brothers. It's
it's really funny because you have DC not listening to the fans at all. No Snyderverse, no Ayer cut. People ask for a Zemo cut, and it's on YouTube today. Like,
I know you told me that.
He's like, hold my beer.
Release the Zemo cut, and then Zemo cut release.
Oh my god!
Within the day, that's a bit easier, to be honest.
Slap in the face.
Yeah, Zemo cut is well worth watching.
I got some goods to bring to Ed today. I'm not a scoop or anything, but more people are going to go and talk. And I said, this is a trend. He goes, yeah, because they this is the exact quote I heard. They smell blood in the water.
That's what we theorized.
So I did mention Hamada possibly not sticking around for much longer. There's blood in the water, guys. I mean, it's somebody's going to leave or get fired or what.
Oh, because I did a stream earlier about this full article, right? And the chat was very festive about it, and it was like, what's next, right? Like Terrio's coming out. NDAs are all off at this point. So, like you said, it's a matter of who's going to step up next.
I thought there weren't any NDAs.
No, Terrio said it was last year. Terrio said he was under NDA. Last year.
That's another bullshit thing that Ansonov said in that article.
I'm
aware of.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, because it was over at the time of that printing, but before
win-win situation.
Oh my god!
Eat your asparagus now.
Silos.
You will like my asparagus.
There's something kind of rancid about the Sarnoff sauce. It just sounds kind of rancid. It's like, here's your Hamada burger with some Sarnoff sauce. Enjoy. And here's the silo. There's the silo shake for you. Enjoy.
My God, I'm gonna say silos one more time.
We'll take the.
How many more of these?
James it's so well placed. Honestly, I think we should do a sketch of like the Warner Brothers, like inside Hamada Burger, and just have and Sarnoff at the counter being like, "Enjoy your broccoli."
She's so snooty looking.
Oh my god!
It's like.
It's a win-win situation. I don't know why. I just want to make her German for some reason. It's just.
She reminds me of my English teacher. Like, I hated English. And, it's like that's what she looks like. Like God, flashbacks.
Then you just have Walter in the background making the burgers, like just sweating. You're like, when's my break? Oh, it's in an hour. I'm digging a trench.
Silos.
So here, Titlani says, "Why isn't everybody saying?" Sorry, here we go. Why isn't everyone saying this? But John Berg, Prolly spilled out the biggest beans, if I'm not mistaken. He's the one that told Ray about the racist discussions he had with Toby, Whedon, and Jeff. Is he? I didn't know that John Berg.
I mean, there's a couple of sources in there, but yeah, I mean that THR article is huge. Like I said, Kim Masters is like I said, she's still defending it on social media today, coming out with the Jeff Johns quotes, and so yeah, that's a huge article.
I honestly don't understand why she has to feel that she has to defend that her article.
She's getting attacked.
And we know who she's getting attacked by. It's very specific people, and honestly, a lot of these people, it's like, well. They just love to hate on Ray specifically. Anything to do with Ray Fisher, they love to hate on Ray Fisher.
I mean, just full disclosure, all of my most downvoted videos are Ray Fisher related, which is insane. Like, I had a chance to do enough videos in like 9 months to see like a trend. And anytime I have Ray Fisher as a topic, is downvoted the most on YouTube, which is it's kind of insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
we are. I mean, James, I think has a plan. I really would love to get Ray Fisher.
It's that and Jarbo, actually. Any videos with Ray Fisher and Jarbo.
It's the same people. There's a correlation there, I'm sure.
And TiVo. So yeah, it's like a trinity right there.
Yeah.
I had to crash that party yesterday with Sil and Jarbo. Just all the fans were about to commit suicide from all the gloom and doom that was going on.
You was like the lowest lane of BBS.
Before we continue, I can see that we got about 77 people watching and only 27 likes. So I'm gonna give you this. Go over there and hit the fucking like button. All right, you hit it now. You motherfucking hit the fucking like. I just told you to hit the motherfucking like button. So you gotta do it right now. Do it.
You get a free Hamada burger for each like. Remember that.
Exactly. And you're not going to get that on any other show. You're not going to get me telling you to hit the fucking like button.
We gotta go up to 40, yo. Yeah, we gotta get this up right here.
Yeah, man. So the one thing I wanted to do on the last show that I was on, I was mysteriously absent on yesterday's stream. You might have seen.
It was your channel.
Yeah, but that was an interesting.
I thought you were hanging out with Amber Heard or something. I thought you were busy.
Yeah, it was. Jedi. No, but. Don't do that, James. Smash that like button, peeps. Thank you. Please smash that like button and liked. Where's my damn Hamada burger? Sorry. The side of stand-up sauce.
I get up to 40. We gotta get up to 40, y'all.
Yeah, man. Mainly just to not just to support me, but to support. Let's support everybody that's involved with this movement, with the Restore the Snyderverse movement. Because honestly, you know this, Sil. I wasn't that invested.
Yeah. No, you wasn't.
I really wasn't that invested. and then the more this carries on and goes on, and the more you hear, and the more I learn about what's going on inside of Warner Brothers. It's just insane. And one of my favorite films of all time is 300, which is directed by Zack Snyder. And and Chris Terrio wrote Argo, which is another fantastic movie that I love.
Yeah.
And these people are very talented people, and they were literally the films they wanted to make. We didn't really get them, apart from Zack Snyder's Justice League, which so happens to be probably the best DCU movie ever made. I would say.
Yeah. Sorry, Danzig had a suggestion. I kept forgetting to do it, but I just whipped it up now.
What's
oh my god!
That's from the IT crowd. That's perfect. Brilliant. Thank you, Dan.
But first, let's get these likes up because we're the troublemakers to Warner Brothers. Yeah, smash that like just for that alone.
maybe we should.
You and the Englishman and the black guy. You're all troublemakers. Yeah, we've been talking about all this Warner Brothers shit for months now. Right. It's just now coming out. It's just now coming. We were so far, all three of us were so far ahead of this.
Right.
It's obvious there is a civil war going on. It is so blatantly obvious now. Everything that you're seeing in the trades, there's no denying it.
Yeah, I mean, like hashtag toxic bros in the chat. I on my last stream, I retired the term former brothers, and I've adopted toxic brothers.
Just retired brothers
because of Ann Cernoff is she tried to come off and label the fandom as toxic. So we're gonna put it right back at them. So toxic bros.
I think the executives are toxic. I think they've created a toxic workplace.
Exactly.
And honestly, that was something that sorry, TiVo's in the chat saying Super 2 Megaforce Sons TiVo.
Speaking of toxic, no,
he's very welcome to come on, and talk about all of this. Yeah, I'll send him an invite.
Yeah, Facebook is now working, by the way. It's working again.
It's working again.
Yeah.
Who's that GIF that says I've been texting you all the time, but you just ignore it? That's what I usually send to TiVo when he says he never gets an invite.
Well, send him an invite now. I actually would love to know what he thinks of all of this, because TiVo's someone that's very. He's not anti DC, but he's pretty much he's a Marvel guy.
He's as close to anti DC as you get.
I mean,
I was talking to this guy at Disney last night, and he says, "I have an important question for you." And I'm thinking, "Oh, like a scoop or something, right?" And he goes, "Says what?" In his very serious tone, "Can I have a Hamada burger?"
I thought you were going to say, "Can I have a hug?" I have a very important question. Can I have a hug, please?
Hamada burger.
It's really caught on, James. There's no stopping it now.
Hamada burgers.
Oh man, seriously. I mean, I'm just wondering.
We have a.
Should we run this contest? Because no one goes in the comments and does it. They just do it on the live stream. You guys have to do it in the comments, and then we'll send you free T-shirts.
Yeah, go on, do it.
On today's episode, we have a contest from hamadaburger.com. Organically sourced, 100% BS. Enter to win a Hamada Burger t-shirt or mug. All you have to do is like, subscribe, and comment your preference of a tea or mug. Bonus points for suggesting a menu item. hamadaburger.com. You'll like it because we told you to. Hamada Burger.
The kind of shit you get on this show, man. So yeah, do what was said in that clip. I can't remember. I know I did the voiceover, but I can't remember.
There's so many details to that.
Like, subscribe, and bonus points if you put a menu ID in the comment. You gotta leave a comment with the hashtag Hamada Burger.
And turn in the circle and then press like.
Yeah, exactly.
And rub your belly at the same time.
And let's do another push because we still haven't got many likes on this video. And
we gotta get to 40.
I'm all for the likes, so let's go over there and hit the fucking like button. All right. There you go. Go over there and hit the fucking like button. Go over there and hit the fucking like button. All right, you hit it now. You motherfucking hit the fucking like. I just told you to hit the motherfucking like button. So you gotta do it right now. Do it. I also want people to subscribe. I think we're pushing to 1,000, so we can start super chats, and that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That'll be fun. It's great to see you still doing so well. We want some of that.
Oh man, it still blew up, man. You blew up, dude. I mean,
You got Mikey on the still train again.
It's those Hamada burgers, that push you over the top.
Hell yeah.
Hamada Burger.
I did
So what do you guys
about
think of Our Men joining the Justice League?
Yeah. He'll be an hour late.
Watch the Down Man come out and bust out and be this amazing movie, and then all the shade are pulling out.
You know what? I would love nothing more than that. I would love for the film to be good. For me, honestly, I don't care about who they do movies about as long as they're good. I mean, the first Marvel film that came out was Iron Man, who's a bloody B-lister as far as Marvel is concerned. So honestly, that it's not the character that matters. And if anything, DC films in particular, they do need to move away from like the Batmans and Supermans because there's a point of being oversaturated. Do we really need 2 Batmen at the same time? We're going to get 3 because we're going to get Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, and Robert Pattinson all back together, and we're going to have basically 2 Supermen if they don't just ditch Henry Cavill entirely. So I mean, it's just there is a kernel of a good idea there, and I actually thought the Trench was quite a good idea as well. But the problem with
cancel.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem with Warner Brothers is they are so lacking in any strategy. And the funny thing is, I bet you they spend more than any other studio on people to develop strategies for things. I bet you they're one of those companies that bring in people like marketing people to make pointless spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations.
Yeah, they do.
And be like, yeah, and I'm pretty sure that happens there. And be like, okay, give us a good strategy. And I bet you they've come up with more strategies than any other bloody company in Hollywood, but they just don't do any of them because they're scared shitless, and they're basically run by shitty executives and also shitty investors. So you're never going to get anything good out of them.
Crazy.
Well, they were actually developing a Metal Man movie a couple of years ago, like 6-7 years ago, or 5 or 6 years ago. But the marketing research department, whatever you want to call them, they felt it was just too weird, and the mainstream audiences wouldn't get it. And what happened afterwards is Guardians of the Galaxy came out.
Oh my goodness, man!
And it's just that's Warner Brothers for you. I mean, they had a really cool idea with the Metal Men, like a very quirky group of misfits. Like, regular audiences aren't going to watch some quirky group of misfits. Next year, Guardians of the Galaxy came out.
But they're like,
Mikey,
Hour Man.
An Hour Man movie would be 60 minutes, so starring Barbara Walters.
It'd be 2 hours, but only 1 hour would feet Hour Man.
You guys are people like, is this clicking to the Watchmen?
Yeah.
Well, we're at 46 likes now because I went
Good
and
job.
liked with all my other YouTube channels that I'm on.
Good job, Chad.
Go over there and hit the fucking like button. Okay, people. I do apologize for my rants. People seem to be, but it's just how I felt. It's just how I feel about Warner Brothers. Like I think they're such a badly run company, and I know people that have left areas of Warner Media because it's a toxic environment to work in. So yeah, that's how I really feel.
That's pretty bad too. That people like, I mean, they're slamming the company on their way out. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. It's a lot of that.
There's
a lot of that
supposedly a filmmaker-driven studio. Come on, you're pissing them all off.
Did y'all hear Keelar had a podcast today talking about HBO Max and talking about they brought up Christopher Nolan, and so the interviewer said, "Is Nolan really going to work with y'all anymore?" And Keelar was like, I hope so."
No. please, Christopher, work with us.
It was so uncertainty because
Keeler
was like, "Yeah, maybe we should have given everybody the heads up, a little bit before that day, But 2022, everybody's, Matt Reeves, you're going to be in theaters, So.
Yeah. Did anyone bring up the fact to Keeler that literally Christopher Nolan called them the worst streaming service?
So yeah, I think they burned the bridge there because he was really uncertain about Nolan. That's unfortunate.
Well, come on, Nolan, we'll give you a year's worth of free Hamada burgers if you come back.
It just shows the stupidity of Warner Brothers. Why on earth wouldn't you talk to your bloody filmmakers before you go out and release a stupid statement like that?
They even talked to Legendary, which
they didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't want to do. They wanted to sneak it through, like, ha ha ha.
Yeah,
jokes on you.
Honestly, the fact that they literally had one of the best filmmakers of all time in their back pocket. He was Christopher Nolan was just doing movies for them, and now he's on the market, and of course everyone is trying to get him.
Disney really wants them.
Yeah, and the other thing is that Disney literally did the same. That strategically they did the same thing that Warner Brothers did. They are putting all their 2021 movies onto their streaming platforms. They were clever about it because they told the filmmakers first, and they were like, "This is happening." They told the actors, "This is happening" before the Disney Investors Day presentation and before they announced all of that. And also, they're doubly smart about it because they're getting people to pay extra for the movie for certain movies and premium, which is annoying, but it means that they know people want to watch stuff like Raya and the Last Dragon, because people will.
Well, they're staggering. They're smart, like you said, Edward. They're smart because, like I said, they staggered Black Widow. They're still holding off the fall lineup because Eternals can still hit the theaters this fall because they're anticipating people taking their shots and doing what you got to do to get to the theaters. So Disney played it smarter. Warner Bros. Jumped the gun. Yes, I think it was a smart move actually, but they should have told everybody first. That's the problem with Warner Bros.
But it's also they didn't tell the guys that were actually bankrolling most of their movies. Like Legendary make most of their films. They also, I mean, Syncopy is Syncopy is Nolan's company. They didn't tell them, which is why he was pissed off. They didn't tell Denis Villeneuve. And he's making June, and then basically it means we're not getting June Part 2, which is so annoying.
It's a caveat to that because so Legendary, yes, that was a terrible move. They didn't tell Legendary because they're financing Godzilla vs Kong and Dune, 2021, right? So Godzilla vs Kong is out. It did great in theaters, considering pandemic. They are discussing, as far as what I heard, putting Dunes, trying to do a theater window first,
Yeah.
still for Dune. So that may save the franchise, which is crazy to say. If they give it a theatrical run, probably like 45 days before it comes to HBO Max.
Yeah. But I mean, people in the comments are saying that. I mean, the idea was good. The execution was horrible. The idea, literally, when I read it, I was like, oh, that's the only thing they can really do. I didn't know that they didn't tell everyone beforehand.
Well, yeah, I can just picture Warner Brothers like, oh, you might want to take your spam folder. Our email might have ended up there.
I know. Seriously, that's they really tried to put it under, like, have it go under the radar.
Yeah,
and again, I think it does. I think it's the fact that literally the companies within Warner Media, they just don't talk to one another, I think communication is a massive problem at Warner Media, and
might be because many of them don't actually like each other.
Yeah, they just don't want to work with each other.
That comment, what did Steve say? The idea was good, execution was horrible. That's exactly what Jason Kular said today in the podcast. He said, "Yeah, his idea was good, but the execution was horrible." So, yeah, there you go.
And the fact, like, I mean, I'm a massive, like, Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors of all time. I think he's brilliant, and like, they're literally, it looks like they'll lose him. Like that article that he wrote, I think it was either Vanity Fair or I think it was the Hollywood Reporter that he wrote. It was so damning, and he was obviously, you read it, he's so upset. Because he's like, Dune has to be seen on a big screen. You can't not see it on a big screen. And like, I just, if I was a filmmaker, I'd just be like, why the hell would I work with them? First off, they don't actually finance that many of their movies. They get other people to do it. Most of their money now for their films comes from China, which is another thing that's mind-boggling. It's like, and then don't bloody release Zack Snyder's Justice League in China. Like, honestly, I don't get that. He had a bloody cut ready for China, like specifically. He had a spin-off ready for China, and they still didn't release it in China.
That article, so I brought that up in my, I had 2 streams actually this morning. I mentioned that China article that Edward brought out, but it's a lot of good information on there. Now, can I say, did you reach out to a certain person in the Snyder fandom from China?
Fiona, yeah.
So she did contribute to that?
No, the quotes aren't from her.
Gotcha.
No, she just confirmed what
Gotcha. So, which is pretty major though, is the fact that, you know, she's been pumping up the Snyder Cut, you know, for 4 years, right? She's looked by many as the mother of the Snyder Cut movement. And so the fact that, you know, you at least got a chance to reach her was major. Pretty insane that Zack was going through those lengths to even make a Chinese cut.
Yeah,
and they still rejected it. Warner Brothers rejected it, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was again talking to people, because again the other thing, the reason I wanted to do that specifically was because I couldn't actually find anything out about the release in China. Just out of, because I'm very curious about that sort of stuff. Like China for me is already a massive market for Hollywood, and we're seeing movies actually literally be altered for China specifically. Marvel's been doing it for years now, since I think it was Iron Man 3 was the first one. They actually added a scene in China for Iron Man 3. And like Warner Brothers is doing it as well, but they just don't do it as well. It's like Zack Snyder's Justice League would have been the perfect film to release in China, literally, like especially now when there's very little stuff in China. Like Sisters is the biggest film in China right now. It still hasn't made that much money. I think that in total, I think it's made 100 million in China, which isn't that much. And like I think Godzilla vs Kong made 30, I think, off the top of my head, which is literally nothing. Like people literally, when I was in China for a while, people go to the cinema all the time in China. Like it's bigger than anything else really over there now. It's huge. Like Avatar was massive for them, and like the Marvel films do so well. If you look at the box office records, a lot of it, the huge chunk of it, is now China based and not the US anymore.
Right.
Which is, it's going to overtake it pretty quickly, I think, especially after the pandemic, because there'll be any place where movies are actually released in cinemas.
Exactly.
Because they don't really have streaming. They have streaming services, but it's not the same. And it's just honestly, and the fact that cinemas are open there as well and they didn't release it there is just so stupid. Like I was told that one of the reasons they didn't was because they thought it was too long, but I was also then told that Snyder's cut for China was shorter. So I was just like, and also you say that, but then all the movies that have done really well in China have been 3 hours or more. Like Avatar is like close to 3 hours, I think, in length. Avengers, I can't remember how long it is specifically, but it's a long movie.
So there is a China Snyder Cut. That's another version.
Yeah, there's a China cut of the Snyder Cut.
Man, crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, Danzig is saying Amber Heard has a Chinese accent, Russian accent, and Irish accent. In the Justice League China cut. Yeah, so honestly, like
it's like fuck it, you know. I mean
it's every day it's a different story with WB. I mean, it really is like a multiverse over there because people are working on different projects that are the antithesis of each other. You know, Rock wants his own Justice League, and now there's this, multiverse league, the Crisis League.
The Crisis League.
I can't.
Oh man!
I can't get the Sills new term for it out of my head.
It's sticking though. People like the disconnect verse.
Disconnect verse.
I tell you, man. It's. I mean, the thing is, it's like Jarbo said. Everyone hated his take on my channel the other day. The fact that Jarbo said maybe Hamada's trying to do Disney Star Wars. He's trying to cherry pick Snyderverse and put it in a new, continuity. That's why you have Kiersey Clemens in the Flash movie, and you want to have Batfleck. So that's a good point. Yeah,
he wants the parts that he feels are marketable. And that is everything else but Snyder. He's like, I like your actors.
So it's like you go through this Flash movie, and then you're gonna realize that, man, maybe they did want Batfleck more. So it's like
it's kind of like in the recording industry where they're like, I want to sign your lead singer, but forget the band.
Oh goodness,
it's very much like that.
That's rough. That's rough.
I just don't think this regime is going to last very long. I think the boat is sinking. We're talking like full on Titanic here.
The Snyder Cut was a bit of an iceberg for them, I think.
Yeah, it was, and I think it's going to happen sooner than we think. Yeah. It's not wishful thinking, but you're seeing, like I said, people tell me they smell blood in the water. Usually when this happens, people start falling overboard. So,
I mean, it's pretty damning stuff that's coming out. I mean, you have to
want to work for them. I mean, seriously, if people admire Chris Terrio,
right. For him to come out coming out hot like this, this is a warning to just all other writers. Like, man, you may not want to work with this company at this point under this regime. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, as a writer myself, I think an executive can come in and say, "No, I want to change this." Oh man, especially if you're an Oscar-winning writer, why in the hell would you want to get anywhere near that place?
That's a joke. It is a joke right now, and so it's like at this point, I mean, like Mikey, like last week we had me and you had that infamous stream where New Gods was canceled when we was live, right? And it's like since then. You have the Trench, of course, canceled as well. You have the Ray Fisher expose. Now you got Chris Terrio coming out today. Like, it's a terrible week to be Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah, I have to say, still of all the YouTube shows that have been on that particular episode, when New Gods went down was my favorite because it was breaking news right there in front of us. You're like, what the hell was that?
Oh man! Hey, shout out to my chat. If y'all in the chat here, that was at that stream. Like it was like Seal. It was like Seal, check Hollywood Reporter. Like it's breaking news, and so we pull it up, and me and Mikey's like, what the fuck? Like what in the world is going on?
I gotta make a clip for every time Seal plugs his show.
Yeah, ding, ding.
Like I said, it should be like a drinking game when Habana Burger is mentioned. Get a shot of bourbon. When when Edward says Amber Heard, you know, get a shot of bourbon.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean,
Things will never be the same because the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
I was hoping you put the wink in there.
Double meaning behind that now. You know that?
I was hoping the wink. I hope you had. I'm glad you kept the wink in that one.
Such a good clip.
It's all for that's all for the Snyder fans out there. Like, yeah, taking over this bitch.
Wow.
I do think that's literally what's happening right now over at Warner Brothers. Well, honestly, the one thing I do think is, what the hell are we going to talk about when all this is done? when Warner Brothers, if Warner Brothers ever does sort themselves out.
Loki will be out by then, and we'll probably get talk about the Young Avengers every day, right?
Yeah, exactly. We'll probably. Go on, Sil.
I want to keep the Snyderverse just for this.
Just for this shit.
As long as I get the Snyderverse on HBO Max, I'm okay. You know?
Restore the Hamada burger.
Keep it going, Hamada. Let's go.
Restore the Hamada burger. Oh man. Well, I think we've kind of exhausted this enough for tonight. It's been almost 2 hours, and this is an unusually long stream for small screen stories. But
how many more of these?
That's great. But thank you very much, guys, for coming on and helping me out and listening to my rants.
We're all troublemakers, apparently. So.
Yes, we are the troublemakers. Now, Sil, I think you've plugged your show enough. So wait till people.
Next.
Yeah, Mikey and James, where can we find you guys?
GeekOfCMag.com. I'm the troublemaker there.
Yeah. Troublemakers.com.
There you go.
Number one.
Yeah. And James, we can find you at 42 Cut. Is that right?
Put that cookie down!
Yeah, everyone knows where to find me. It's fine.
Like an underground network of troublemakers.
Do they, James?
You know,
the ones I want to find me. Yeah.
You don't find James. James finds you. You know, that's how I do
request.
You know who's missing from these shows? We're gonna have Zack Snyder on here and talk to him.
I'd love to talk to Zack.
Man, we gotta bring Zack on here.
You and he were buddies, weren't you?
Hey, Zack, you want a Hamada burger? Get to see his reaction.
We'll bring the bourbon, Zack.
We'll bring the bourbon, yeah. and then guess who's just joined us? We're winding up the show.
I just have one quick question.
The show's over.
You have one quick question, Tivo.
Oh, he's in the dark again. He's smoking pot. You know what Avatar means, right? He's smoking.
What in the world?
What's you can hear him. You can hear him.
I knew it.
What's going on, you Tubanites?
Enough talk.
I'm so lost right now.
Are we ending it, or what's up, people? What's going on?
I'm channeling my James, where I'm just monotone and just.
Oh man, I said to my girlfriend, I said $10. T was gonna come in and insult me right away. That's the first thing.
That wasn't even an insult. That
I'm
was
okay.
I'm just saying.
Thanks, pay up, baby.
I just have one quick question. So, what were you guys gonna ask me?
What do you think of all this Warner Brothers news?
Oh my god!
Can you narrow it down by like 50?
Chris Terrio article. Have you heard about it? Have you heard what he said? No.
Okay, I want you to repeat everything you have repeated for the last hour.
I'll be here for 2 hours.
Next show.
Okay, what happened? Chris Terrio from Dance Fever. What happened?
Yeah.
Only my.
I heard
That's literally what happened.
Yeah, I know only Mikey would get that reference of Danny Terrio from Dance Fever.
Oh God.
He said the 2017 theatrical cut was an act of vandalism. Zach may be too much of a gentleman to say that, but I'm not. It's the main quote from the Vanity Fair article. He goes on to talk about how investors at Warner Brothers were telling him how to write Batman. Yeah, people are confused.
Yeah, me too, double MJ.
Huh? Executives were telling him how to write Batman.
Yes.
Yeah, Oscar-winning screenwriter.
For which movie?
BVS and then Justice League. I think it was actually specifically Justice League they were telling him how to write.
Yeah, that's.
It's like, fuck it. You know?
I don't know, man. It just seems like there's just so much coming out, from everywhere, and it's just like I don't know where it's leading to, where it's going to, what factions are on what sides. It just doesn't. It doesn't. There's something going on. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean,
Yeah,
it divides the fan base, for the fans that are on the Snyder side, and then the fans that are just DC Comics fans, right? That want to see, Black Adam and all these other movies. And I think,
love you too, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, still, is there a divide between folks on the Snyder Cut side and then the other DC films, like Man and whatever, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it seems like in-house fighting. That's
I mean, it's a division. I mean, Ann Sarnoff kind of helped that division, to be quite honest. People were looking towards the future, and then those of us who wants to see the Snyderverse, at least finished, at least the arc finished, right? But Terrio is weird because he is not attached to any Warner Brothers projects coming up, so he's literally just hurling shots, from whatever. He must have some kind of new contract with Netflix or something, because he's just shooting shots at Warner Brothers like it's nothing, and he's again an Oscar-winning writer. So
he smells blood in the water. He knows.
Yeah.
What's curious to me is so obviously Ray Fisher has spoken out about all the stuff that he's seen. Wonder Gal Gadot said one little thing, I think something about she had an issue with Whedon and then they squashed it.
She keeps it diplomatic.
But Affleck and Cavill, and I mean, they haven't really come out like strongly on Ray Fisher's side. I think Momoa has said something, but it would hold more weight if it was Cavill and Affleck that came out to say it.
I don't think either of them would though. I think I think honestly, what it sounds like is that they're the three, Momoa, Gal Gadot, and Ray Fisher were the three that had the most issues with Joss Whedon.
Right.
What was the issue that Momoa had with Whedon?
He didn't like the lines that he was making him.
He said it was a shit show. That's what Momoa is on record saying that.
Yeah, and I mean Ben Affleck probably feels Ben Affleck probably feels he doesn't need to say anything. Also, he's quite kind of still involved with a lot of these producers, and I think he also wants to direct a lot of movies, and I'm wondering whether a lot of those films he wants to direct with Warner Brothers.
First.
Yeah, I think there might be that.
I have to wonder, did Cavill, did he witness much of this? Because he wasn't in the film that much.
Yeah, there might be that as well.
I think that's probably why, he doesn't want to get involved.
I don't think they don't want to piss him off because he had a mustache all through the reshoots. It's like that's not even make him upset. So he has a mustache.
People compare this to Lucasfilm, but the big difference is people who were there who were actually saying stuff. Lucasfilm is just the fans interpreting it. Or scoopers talking about it, but you don't see John Favreau talking about Kathleen Kennedy, for instance.
No.
So here's a hot take that's going to piss off everybody in your live chat. Well, maybe
That's
not so much. Maybe not so much.
That's on my channel, Tivo. Not yeah. This is Edward's channel.
I forgot which article it was. It was that super long article about Ray Fisher and
so
he said all those things. And there was this one thing about the booyah thing, right?
Yeah.
And how everybody wanted to say it, and then Ray was like, "I don't want to say that," and it to the point where I thought. Ray thought it was like that's like a stereotype, or that's like a something racist or something like that. And I thought to myself, that's like, you know what? They said it first in the cartoons, but it's not even that phrase that's attached to him. For those in the States, the late great Stuart Scott, ESPN Sports Center, he coined that phrase, right? Mm. Anytime he does like highlights, he was like "booyah," right? I mean, that's and that's where it was from. I mean, that's why I was like, you know what? I mean, okay, people are gonna hate me for this, but I think Ray Fisher
they already hate you.
Overly sensitive. You know what I mean? I mean, I understand he's been through some shit, but I mean, the booyah thing. I mean. Stuart Scott.
So Tivo, you saw the Snyder Cut, Tivo. You thought Booyah fit that character in the Snyder Cut?
Okay. In the Whedon cut, right?
Yeah.
When he said Booyah, the fans loved it.
Who?
Go back and look.
The guy that's like the Teen Titan animated.
Exactly.
It didn't even fit. Like even when Ray Fisher said it in the Whedon cut, his face showed disgust.
Yeah, but that's because he's a boring ass actor, though. I mean, come on.
Are you serious?
You lie.
But there was a large. I mean, I remember when that came out, there was a lot of people were like, "Oh, he said booyah right on," and maybe it is from the Teen Titans, the fans that were saying it. Yeah. So, I mean, I just think it's just making a big deal out of a small thing. I mean, but the other part of
that's a good point. Maybe if they hadn't cut 85% of his story, he wouldn't have minded saying it.
Well, the other part I was saying before James interrupted me was, see, I even paused because I knew it was
call it Sanchez,
and I paused again. The part about the AT&T guys saying that, hey, put it in there because my kids were like that. That to me that's a bigger issue to me than him saying because he thought it was stereotype.
Don't you think it's kind of strange that first off the booyah thing came like it was Jeff Johns that came and said you know that he has a catchphrase, and Jeff Johns wrote the comic in which he was the one that brought Cyborg into the Justice League in the first place in the comics, and he never says booyah in those comics.
No, it's only from the cartoons. It's from the Teen Titans cartoon,
And honestly,
I just have one quick question.
James, don't you fucking cut me off.
You were buddies, weren't you?
Sorry,
whiskey.
When it was the day that he filmed that scene that for me was really awful was what Whedon did on set. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. Quoting fucking Shakespeare at him.
Oh my god!
And then being like, and honestly, Whedon comes off as such just the world's biggest dickhead, and he is. And also, I mean, I'm pretty sure you know this, Tivo. People didn't like him on the set of Avengers: Age of Ultron either.
Apparently, Robert Downey Jr. didn't like him too much.
Yeah, because he wouldn't take notes for Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at Joss Whedon's career, I mean, he went from doing TV shows to thrust into doing Avengers. I mean,
and they hated him on TV shows too, Tivo.
Well, now all that stuff that's coming out with the stuff. I mean, I was never, I wasn't a fan of Firefly or whatever the hell, those Buffy and all those other. I was not a fan of those things. Yeah, but didn't Whedon also do that weird Shakespeare thing with
much to do about nothing?
With Agent Coulson?
Right? We know he knows Shakespeare now. We know that that jerk. Whedon, man. He's a loser, man.
But
Like, after that article-
Terrio is finally, he's sticking up for his boy. He's got to go and and represent his boy. So I understand that. But
it's open season. It's open season. That's all.
Yeah, but there was just an article that came out today about another director that people, it's gonna start coming out more and more with different directors, because I don't know if your audience knows this, that there are a ton of directors that are dicks.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much their job, is they're stressed out and they're doing this, that, and the other. And they're, and so, they are hard to work with, to say the least, right? 'Cause
It's like, fuck it.
so I think you're going to find out more and more. They're going to come out, because I forgot who, there was an article today, and I forgot who the director was, but now people are coming out talking about him and the bad experiences they had. But and this isn't about Ray Fisher, but Hollywood actors and actresses are divas as well. So I mean, it's kind of set up to where they're going to butt heads. You have a headstrong director, and then you have these actors who think, I need my water at room temperature, and make sure I get M&Ms, but take out all the red ones and all this other. So it's like. It's I don't know. The main issue I have is Warner Brothers has a massive PR issue. They need to figure it out. I mean, because you can't just say I know there's some bad shit going on, but we got our man coming, so there's that.
So we are in the process, having many conversations with the talent, the agents, and the exhibitors.
I just can't. She doesn't believe what she's saying.
Well, what,
doesn't know what she's saying.
With Chris Terrio, though, I mean, I can see where he's coming from, being a writer and having somebody telling you what to do, especially an Oscar-winning writer like himself, who's highly acclaimed. It's. But you're right. It's almost like your own child. I mean, it's just very close to you. And to have his work be butchered like that, I can see where he's coming from. Also, a couple of things I want to mention. I don't want to say it on the air, but I do know of one of the biggest dicks in Hollywood.
Come on, just fucking Mikey!
We can talk about it off here. There's a certain famous director who's just a really bad person, so I won't say who it is.
They watching you, Mikey.
We're the troublemakers, apparently.
The troublemakers.
Yeah.
I mean,
I meant actors and directors and actors. I meant Tom Cruise is notorious for being, difficult on set. I think who is that British actor that's just maybe Tom Hardy or one of the other guys. I mean, it's a system that's set up to butt heads. So the studio has to make a decision of, okay, do I get a director that's going to be able to control these people, or they get and what I see sometimes is they get a new director and he's just like, I'm just gonna do my job, and these guys are gonna tell me stuff, and I'm just gonna roll with it.
Yeah, if you watch any movie about Hollywood in the last 80 years, that's what it's usually all about. Started with Citizen Kane, director versus actor, and then producers are caught in the middle.
Yeah, my last coach at Sony, when things started to take off for me. Because he's also my psychologist as well, and he told me, he goes, you need to develop more of an ego, because you can't succeed in this industry without an ego, because people aren't going to listen to you. They're going to try and shove you around. But to gain their respect, you got to have a little bit of ego like you. And so it's just kind of the norm in Hollywood to be an asshole.
Yeah, you say that, but then there are no stories coming out about people not getting on with Zack Snyder, for instance.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything about him on set is that they really liked working with him, and actors seem to really like working with him.
Russo brothers, right?
Well, yeah, you can be professional about it. Apparently.
I think things are changing. I honestly think things are changing in Hollywood. Like, go on, Sil.
No, you said Russo.
Plug your show, Sil.
No, I was wondering what about that set of Cherry? Did they get some pushback on Cherry. But go ahead, Edward.
Well, I haven't heard any.
I don't know. It was a terrible movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's probably a bad movie, but I'm pretty sure they all liked working together.
Yeah, they like working.
You know, I've never heard a bad thing about Kevin Feige, except what he does. Don't make him mad. He does have a temper when he gets mad, like a real bad temper.
Turns into the
That's all I've heard.
He turns green.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm always angry.
But then it's like it is. I know what you mean, TiVo. It's like Hollywood is kind of that. It's full of egos. People butt heads all the time in Hollywood. It's notorious. It's happened for years. But the whole Joss Whedon thing and Ray Fisher. He's not the only one that had a terrible experience, and it goes beyond being just difficult to work with and him actively being toxic. And I think it's happened throughout his career, and hopefully now he won't work again. And you hope that things might change, but I don't know if they will. Things still happen all the time. Like literally, Whedon's the kind of guy that's like he will actively try and ruin someone's career because that he didn't like them or they didn't do what he wanted them to do.
Does he have that much power though? I mean, he went.
Well, he told Gal Gadot that he would. And he's done that. I mean, Charisma Carpenter was in literally nothing after she worked with Whedon.
Buffy shitted on him after the fact. So
I mean,
that sealed it for me when Buffy comes out on you.
Yeah, and I mean, I think literally the only person that likes working with Joss Whedon is Nathan Fillion, and Nathan Fillion is not that nice a guy.
There seems to be two type of directors that people have negative reactions to. It's the kind of bossy, bossy, angry, directive type, and then there's the guy that's the creepy one. Who directed the Superman movie? That got in trouble.
Brian Singer.
Brian Singer. Yes,
that's a whole nother situation.
Exactly.
Right
so there's those two types that
right
do it. I mean, and I think the older directors, like if you think about Spielberg or Scorsese or any of these older directors, right? They kind of command respect. And and they know how, and it takes years and years of experience, and I think they have the ability to manage personalities. They know because they know actors have egos, are being cocky,
and that's what Zack Snyder did.
I don't think Whedon has that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what Zack Snyder did. Because I can tell you, I think Henry Cavill is an a-hole. If I knew him in person, right? He just looks like that type of guy, right?
Really?
But
computers and just play World of Warcraft.
Seriously,
well, there goes the interview.
and there goes Phil's subscriber base.
But just seriously, you put him on a set with Ben Affleck, with the upcoming Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, like Zach made it work. And most of the fandom, they realized Henry Cavill wasn't saying nothing about releasing Snyder Cut until it was time to release the Snyder Cut. So I mean, I'm just saying what's already out there. But Zach managed personalities. That's the point.
Well, Zach, I mean, you can tell he's a good guy. He looks like a super nice guy every time I see him being interviewed. I haven't heard anything bad about him at all.
And Henry Cavill comes off as being pompous, like he's just a pompous.
That's what
idiot.
I'm saying.
No, he's
very nice.
I mean, because he's British. That's why. I mean,
that's what you guys all think of me, right? You're like, oh,
no, it's just the accent.
Go over there and hit the fucking like button. They want to do that.
It's just the accent. It sounds, And I heard there were I heard things about Guy Ritchie like that too. Was some people were saying he was difficult to work with.
Oh, his suit is his armor.
Yeah, well, I think I've heard that he makes everything really nice on set. Like he like lavishes people with stuff.
Yeah, but see these stories. It's like remember that article came out where they said, "Oh, you're not allowed to sit down on Christopher Nolan's set. There's no chairs." That was such bullshit too.
That might be right though.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. He clarified that.
Nathan Fillion, I've heard he was at the Emerald City Comic Con a few years ago, and I didn't get a photo with him, but people were telling me, man, he's just not a nice guy.
He's a dick.
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion is.
Yeah, I heard he's just not a nice guy.
Luke Ferrigno is a dick.
Really? What?
That's blasphemy.
No, it is true. If you he goes to a lot of Comic Cons, and he's just a dick.
You lie.
No, you know who's a dick?
James.
Like a real dick, William Shatner. Now, William Shatner is just a weird. He's gone.
Wow, what's happening?
Time to close your eyes and get to sleep.
That's so wrong. I don't context. I don't know what the hell that was.
Do you guys like
Time for Edward to go to bed.
Is that why?
I have a delicate
let me ask you
disposition, and
guys
I
this.
can't take any more insults from TiVo.
Let me ask you guys this. I still have a couple insults left, but let me ask you guys this. I just have one quick question. So they started filming Zack Snyder's Justice League, 2017, right? So he had built a rapport with the cast, the crew, the actors, and everything. And then, so obviously, and then he left. And then here comes Zack Whedon. And people, Joss Whedon. I was putting Zack in the, I've created a new monster. It's a Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon hybrid.
The part is talking now.
Yes, you're fired.
So the actors and the crew, they were like, man, our man Zack left us, and now we got this guy coming in, and the studios are giving him, yo, you need to finish this now, within this amount of time. It needs to be a 2-hour movie, this, that, and the other. And I think that the studios pretty much put in a
mandate.
And it already made people uncomfortable and then Whedon obviously added to that by demanding so much because he had to meet certain deadlines. But I think the studios stepping in and doing that really caused the friction on the set, to say the least.
Yeah. I also honestly I think with Joss Whedon it was a bit different though, because there was that going on, but the studio was very much like, we cannot anger Joss Whedon, we need to give him everything he wants, because they saw him as the guy that would fix everything for them. Like they brought him in because of what he did on the Avengers. That's actually why they brought him in.
Avengers Ultron.
Yeah, I mean that film did really well at the box office.
Hey, that shows how smart they are though, because there's stories from Ultron, like before the movie came out. There were stories out there about that set, and they still wanted Whedon that bad, which is, Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should wrap it up now because it's almost 1 o'clock for me, and I should go to bed. But thank you guys for coming on, and this was an impromptu Super Team Megaforce.
We are the Troublemakers.
We are the Troublemakers. And thank you guys
Super
for watching.
Team Megaforce!
And what can you do? You can hit that motherfucking like button. To quote somebody else, go over.
Oh, in the world.
Go over there.
One of us has to click this, man.
I thought that was funny.
You wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing.
Go over there and hit the fucking like button. All right, you hit it now. You motherfucking hit the fucking like. I just told you to hit the motherfucking like button. So you gotta do it right now. Do it.
See,
I just have one quick question.
Oh,
Dig what?
oh my God.
Oh my God.